You're listening to the Mobcast Network.
Welcome, my friends, to the Catacombs, the deep underground layer where we keep the really weird stuff at the Cult Movie Cantina. I'm your Native American pop culture spirit guide, Scotty, and I'm joined by my co-host.
Drew.
It's Drew. How's it going, buddy?
It's good. I'm having some peanut butter whiskey.
So am I. Before we get into anything else, you brought peanut butter whiskey. We had mentioned it on an episode of My Star Wars Life, so you definitely need to go listen to that.
Yep, absolutely.
And it is delicious. It is divine. It's called Screwball.
Yep, that's it. And the reason I think it's interesting for this show, right, is because it's two things that you might not really think should go together that end up working really well.
Right.
And that's all I care about is things that work well.
Right. I'm trying to figure out some kind of chocolate thing to put in this to make.
I made some
like
chocolate. I made literally chocolate milk. I don't do dairy, but I did almond milk.
Right.
And added a shot of that to it, and it was gone within seconds, but it was delightful.
Oh, does it sound delightful?
Yeah.
You can check us out on our website at scottywhite.com and join the discussion of the Cult Movie Cantina Facebook page at facebook.com/Cult Movie Cantina. While you're sharing your Baby Yoda memes and trying to explain to people why Jeffrey Epstein didn't hang himself, why don't you stop by our Facebook group and say hi? We'd love to help you and talk to you. And of course, we know Epstein didn't kill himself.
That's great. That was a good one. I like it. This is one of my favorites.
This week, we take a look at the 1995 horror film Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight.
This is a piece of gold, by the way. Can I start out by saying this movie? I have not seen it in years. I remember seeing it in theater. It came out in 95, you said?
Right.
So I was a junior in high school. I remember seeing that film in the theater and loving it because there was a couple of boob shots in it. Just gratuitous. 90s.
Like at the beginning, like the producer was like, oh crap, we need boobs, and they put them in the beginning.
Like stacked them up right away.
Right.
I mean, just...
You knew what you're going to get.
Yeah.
That and John Larroquette.
I was about to say, dude, I was so excited. I totally forgot about that. Like 100% forgot he was even in it.
So people may listen, and you know, I go to a lot of cons, and I collect autographs. That's kind of my thing, especially on cards. And I got real excited when you mentioned you want to do Demon Knight because William Sadler's doing a show in Indianapolis this year.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sitting, he's on Star Trek DS9. It's probably one of the best characters ever. But I'm sitting this, and I found a production still, not a production still, but it was almost like a lobby card, but it's a handout, for Demon Knight, but of him as Baker.
Holy smokes!
From the original production, so I'm going to get that signed too.
Did you now? Are you going to the con? Or you have somebody up there that can cover you?
I'm gonna get. So there are a bunch of services I've been doing the last year or so that I'll send my item into a reputable service, and they'll go do the
Seriously, that's a real thing.
Yeah. So it's a huge thing, right? I just got.
Why are we not doing a documentary on this?
I don't know.
Seriously, like that's a crazy story.
I just got
or series. That'd be an incredible series.
I just got from a service recently. I have a They Live poster that's from Shout Factory, so it's a They Live art poster.
Oh, yeah, that's great stuff.
From the Steelbook. And I sent it to them, and they got carpenters signed it in Pennsylvania for me.
Holy smokes.
And then I got Alan Hawthwaite, the guy who also composed They Live, with him. So I got him, and then a couple other people. And then I'm taking it to Pensacon to get Keith David to sign it.
Yep.
And so... if I can get, Meg, what's her last name? If I can get her signed, then I should be able to get it framed. Because Roddy Ray Piper's dead, so I can't get him. But
I can get close to his daughter for you.
Right, and then not quite the same.
Not the same.
But I got that, and I got again, my favorite movie is Prince of Darkness. So so Alan did the music for Prince of Darkness. So I got him, and I got to send it off to get Carpenter next time he does it signed. But
dude, that's insane.
They're going to hang in here. That's what, in the new office. All that stuff's going to hang in the new office.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But yeah, so there's a service. So so you just send off your item, and you pay the fee, whatever it is for them to sign, and it's usually a $10 fee for their service, which
really, that's it.
Yeah, so
that seems fascinating to me. The reason I find that so interesting is because it seems like it's such a great story of tracking down. Like you've got to track down because there's a lot of us that like obscuro stuff,
right?
It's like if I could get a Kurt Thomas autographed,
right? Okay,
Jim Cotta poster.
Okay, so it's less dramatic than you think. So these people do what they do is they hit all the cons that these folks are at. So it's not like they're going to their house.
Yeah, but they've got to have brokers. They hire someone to go stand in line and get this autograph for them.
Or they do it themselves, or they'd make deals with the agents who handle it. Like with Carpenter. I saw pictures of how much stuff Carpenter signed for them, and because he gets. I mean, he's getting his fee out of every one of these.
Yeah.
So if they make it convenient for him to go sit by himself for an hour with a small group, and he doesn't have to deal with the fans, he just goes and signs 200 things, and makes whatever he's getting out of that $40. And
yeah, that's unreal.
Right. So I mean, that's they do a lot of bulk signings like that too.
Oh, brilliant.
And so, so they're doing. I think this group they should be going to the same con. I'd love to go to it, but it's in Indianapolis, and I only have so much money. I can only do so many cons. So
no, look,
I gotta focus on the ones that we can put the network at. So
I'm trying to figure out and justify going to Celebration.
Go with me.
I know, but I got to still. It's the cost of. It's just the cost of living
just
cost.
Write
right?
it off.
Well, I got to figure out how to tie it back in.
Just do a freelance job. You got to just be like
just need one job down there.
Yeah, just get one.
Where is it in California this year?
Yeah, it's in Anaheim. You got offices down there. Go visit your office.
Yeah, that's what I had to fly to L.A., flew to Anaheim, drove down to L.A. for a day.
You're covering it for us. I just
have to figure out how to justify it.
We'll talk later off air.
Welcome to Tax Breaks.
Well, of course, I haven't
co-host.
I haven't got tickets yet for it because they sold out so fast. So I got to wait for the ticket broker on the second and probably do it the first of the year. But
so you got to do tickets because the other part's a lottery, right?
No, you got to do tickets anyway. It's all tickets, but like the panels and stuff are all lottery. But you got to do the tickets so you can, and you have to do it through their ticket broker so they can change over the names.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but it shouldn't be a problem because it's Chicago. I mean, I got my tickets pretty easy, but I don't know anyone who really wanted to go couldn't get tickets.
Yeah.
Just, so it's an extra step.
People just gobble them up and then sit on them.
Right. So I was thinking they're going to sell them with a premium, but you can't. So, because once you sell them back to the company, they basically just give you an exchange and then they sell them for the same price. It's
brilliant.
just an exchange.
It's brilliant.
And they're the way to keep down scalping.
That's what I was about to say is I hate it when people do that.
Right. Anyway, this week we looked at the 1995 horror film Tales from the Crypt presents Demon Knight. We're going to play the trailer now.
Universal Pictures is proud to present the motion picture directing debut of one of America's most talented and respected artists.
Cut! Cut, 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 cut! Oh, hello, kiddies. So glad you could join me. Your pal, the Crypt Keeper, has gone Hollywood in a big way. I'm directing my first feature film. Care for a little shriek preview? For my big scream premiere, I wanted lots of suspense. Special effects, sex, violence. The kind of thing you could really sink your teeth into. Frights, camera, action. It's about a chase through the ages, a race against time. The war between good and evil.
Come on out, everybody! It's time to play!
And the final battle between man...
I'm sorry.
...and demon.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I lied.
It stars Billy Zane from Dead Calm, William Sadler from Die Hard 2, and Jada Pinkett from Menace to Society. Ooh, I love those titles. And you'll love Demon Knight.
They're here! The demons are here!
And ladies, if you think Demon Knight is too gross and yucky...
Whoa!
Thank you.
And that was Demon Knight. So Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight, long title, came out in 1995. Came out January 13th, 1995.
January. Oh, so they didn't have a lot of faith in that movie.
Well, they jumped on the Friday the 13th horror film. So, horror films do well on 13th of Fridays, and they do well on Halloween. So I don't think it was I think it was the earliest in the year where they could, like, if it bombs, we have the January excuse, but if it does well, it's a January win, and it was a January win for them. So directed by Ernest R. Dickinson, who is known for he's directed Juice. He did a lot of episodes of The Wire, Treme, Walking Dead, a bunch of other TV stuff. But most importantly, he's the cinematographer for Malcolm X, Eddie Murphy's Raw.
Yeah, he's epic. He's like a legend. If you look at his
Right.
credits for being a DP,
Yeah, he is.
He's a legend. But his TV credits are, he has a ton of directorial credits,
He works a lot.
especially episodic.
He also has an interesting connection to this genre because he directed about 4 episodes of Tales from the Dark Side.
Oh, yeah, which is great.
So I thought that was good. So the writers of this are Ethan Reif and Cyrus Voris, and they're a writing team that's been together for a very, very long time. They're famous for Brimstone, which was on USA. They created Kung Fu Panda. They wrote Robin Hood 2010 with
with what's his face?
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott directed it, and it was also written by Mark Bishop. We have a lot about the story about that, so I'll get into that when we get in that part of the thing. Cinematography was by Rick Boda, and he did House on Haunted Hill. He was cinematographer for House on Haunted Hill, and again, he's done a lot of TV.
Yeah, he's a big time TV guy.
Editor was Stephen Lovejoy, who his feature film credits, the only one I could find for him that he was the primary editor was Born in East LA.
Oh, that's actually a pretty popular movie.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And he as well has done a lot of television. It stars Billy Zane as the Collector, William Sadler as Breaker. Breaker.
It's spelled weird, though.
Yeah, it's Brayker.
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett before she was Smith as Geraldine. CCH Pounder as Irene. Dick Miller as Uncle Willie. Thomas Hayden Church as Roach. Charles Fleischer as Wally.
Yeah, it's funny to see Dick Miller in there, and he's basically almost the same character, sober, to me in Gremlins. But I think Dick Miller's always Dick Miller.
Right, he's always Dick Miller. He's such a legend. Dick Miller's done 1 million films. The documentary is basically that guy in movies, or you've seen a movie or something like that. And it's a really good documentary. I highly recommend it. And if you don't know Dick Miller, IMDb him, and you're like, oh yeah, I've seen Dick Miller.
Yeah, he is definitely one of those faces. He's one of those faces you're like, oh, I know that guy, but you may not know, and you'll know all the movies he's in. You just may not realize, or you may have forgotten, not in a negative way, just a reality way. The cast in this, if we could talk about, is
sure.
So, I try not to ever approach any of these movies with nostalgia in mind. I try and kind of just go to everything I can very cleanly. And the cast in this, I knew Billy Sadler was in it, and I remember Billy Zane. And I'll talk about the performances once we get into it. But the cast, I forgot Jada Pinkett Smith. I forgot CCH Pounder. I forgot Dick Miller. I forgot Thomas Hayden Church. And once we were into it, I just thought this casting was incredibly well done. I really, really enjoyed it. Seeing these people again, it was just fun. They were just fun people. Now, Brenda Bake, who played Cordelia.
Yeah, I forgot about her, yeah.
Yeah. Again, another one of those people, you may not know their name, but you've seen her around for sure.
Right.
And I remember now being a kid seeing this, a junior, like I said, in high school, and I just remember finding her so hot. I just thought she was just the hottest thing in the world.
Right.
But she's not particularly she's who she is. Like, she's not like, she was 90s hot. Like, that was her thing. I don't have to justify that statement. I didn't buy her a Peloton bike. Yeah, I went
Side
there.
note, have you seen the Ryan Reynolds response?
What a genius.
Ryan Reynolds.
Dude's a genius.
I love you, Ryan Reynolds.
Anyway, so yeah, the cast in this is what really was a very refreshing feeling going into watching the movie.
And they worked so well together.
They did.
They worked really-
the chemistry was amazing.
It was amazing. I watched the kind of the 20th anniversary retrospective or whatever that was on the Blu-ray for this, and they were talking about Billy Zane's performance, and they said that the rumor was that his performance in Demon Knight was getting the villain part in Titanic, and I'm like, I totally see that.
100%.
Totally see that.
100%.
Also the first movie that Billy Zane's bald in, because he was bald anyway, and so he showed up on set and was like, with all these hair pieces, and it's like, which ones do you want? It's like, do you mind just being bald? And went, no, and so that's how we got bald Billy Zane. which is not everyone can pull off bald. He can pull off bald.
Oh yeah, well, while watching it this morning, so I woke up. I watched Demon Knight at 6:50 this morning because I was in pain, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch Demon Knight. And so I set up my Shudder account and I watched Demon Knight. And my wife walks in about 7:30 and sees Billy Zane. She's like, oh God, Billy Zane. My wife is not one of those people that just gushes about all the time. She doesn't. But Billy Zane in Demon Knight was like she was about.
But he looks cool. I mean, like
he's brilliant.
I mean. He's the duster and the hat.
He's brilliant in this movie.
Costuming in this is amazing.
It's actually my favorite Billy Zane role of all time.
Mine too.
And it's because I don't know, you've seen the behind the scenes. I don't want to take any away from that section, but I believe he just went off the rails. He took that character, and it's a beautiful testament to acting. I feel like he took that character and said, he's mine. Here you go. Hold my beer. And he did his own thing.
And it's also a statement for Ernest Dickinson, who allowed him to do that.
Oh, 100%.
Who knew what he's got with him and just let him.
So inside baseball, sometimes you can see this. If you see a wider frame on a lot of shots, it's because it is improv. You don't want to do a close up on improv.
Right,
you can't follow them. And if you notice, there's a lot of wide frames of Billy. Because they're letting him do his thing. I mean, that character is for me, is iconic.
Right.
It influenced me. I found myself realizing that that work in '95 influenced my brain as a young person growing up, and then even my comedy timing. Like, there's lines out of that I said all the way through high school and college.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
I had misremembered when it came out. I thought it was later. I didn't realize it was.
I didn't either.
I saw it in theaters, and I'm like, and I'm really good about. I can't remember every movie I've seen, but I'm really good. Like if I know a movie of like about where it was, about who I was hanging out with,
right.
and where I was seeing with. And I saw Demon Knight in the theaters, but I'm like, January 13th, 1995. I was a senior in high school, and I think I was driving, but I don't think my folks let me drive to Mobile, so I had to ride with somebody. I'm trying to think, and now got to go through my friends who will not remember because they don't have the weird memory that I do.
Right, I don't have that memory.
When did we see Demon Knight? Like,
I just remember seeing it in the theater.
I saw it in the theaters, and I kept thinking that I saw it much later, but I was really surprised when that must have been Bordello of Blood. I knew I saw that one in theaters too, but I swore I saw both of them. Just thought it was later. You ready to get into this?
Yes, sir.
So we're going into the story of this. On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair.
Oh my God.
The warm smell of car crashes rising up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, there was a shimmering light. An old church turned into a hotel. I had to stop for the night. Sorry.
Bravo. That was well done.
Thank you.
That opening sequence.
I almost did the whole thing.
I had that's brilliant. I had a very tough time. Watching this movie again. I can always find some zingers to throw in it.
Right.
I had a very tough time finding zingers to throw in. They're there, but I just didn't feel right about it because there's so many great bits.
Right.
So this is a personal zinger. So it's back towards me. Mm-hmm. I'm a big fan. I love title sequences. So in the process of this, as we're driving down the road and it's playing "Hey Man, Nice Shot," right. In my mind, that's one of the greatest openings of all time. Like when I'm a younger guy, that was a major. And then seeing it again, I was like, oh, that's, it's poor man's process. Now that I know movie magic, like, oh, cool, look, they've just got some lights behind them and they're shaking the car. Now I'm just kind of like, it's good, but yeah.
But I should have said this at the beginning of this, but okay. So, this is a Tales from the Crypt film, sort of. I learned a lot about it, and we'll talk about that later after we talk about the story itself. But so, being a Tales from the Crypt film, and there has it's bookended by Tales from the Crypt stuff. So we have the Crypt Keeper, who is fake directing a movie,
right.
A horror film. It's very much Creep Show with John Larroquette. And it's cute and it's funny and it is what it is. I'm not here to discuss that. I'm going to just straight up. Go watch it if you enjoy that. That's fine. For me, the movie doesn't start until the movie starts.
And I understand your point. For me, the only magic was having not looked at a Tales from the Crypt opening. I didn't watch. Didn't they remake it recently, or they redid something?
I don't know, not Tales. I know they did.
Anyway, whatever it was, I hadn't looked at a Tales.
Shyamalan wants to bring Tales back. I thought so.
Yeah, maybe
but they ended up doing Creep Show. Creep Show's on Shudder.
That's right. I have not gone back and watched the opening from Tales. So there was an extreme amount of childlike nostalgia that came out of it for
100%.
me. And all it did was set the mood for how the schlock that we were going to see.
Right.
That's when I say schlock, I do not. There's not a negative. Schlock is Army of Darkness. Schlock.
I will
there's
say
nothing
this
negative
though, and the
about
reason why I don't want this movie is too good for that.
I agree, 100%.
Bordello Blood it fits better in.
Right.
This movie is too good for that.
Right.
And it's a shame as we go through the history of this is going to be.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it will blow your mind. Anyway. Where was we? Meet Frank Breaker. He's not having a good day. He's on the run from some cowboy-looking fellow who crashes his car, causing Breaker to flee and try to steal another car. That doesn't work. Breaker meets Uncle Willie, who takes him to this decommissioned church that has been turned into a boarding house. The place is owned by Irene, who lets him stay. We also meet the cast of wacky folks who live here. You have Cordelia, a prostitute, Wally, not to be confused with Willie, who is a postal clerk, and totally into Cordelia. And then there's Geraldine, who is on work release, and Irene took her in. Normally, Irene doesn't take in strangers, but Breaker's wad of cash changes her mind, and she tells Geraldine to fix him up some grub. So we have this dramatic car, opening scene of Breaker in the car, driving looking at his hand with these weird stars on it that are totally stolen from Werewolf the TV show.
Somebody on this movie is connected to Werewolf the TV show.
Yeah, somebody worked on.
And I meant to tell you. There was like one episode.
Yeah, worked on one episode. I couldn't.
Maybe it was the DP. Maybe it was the DP.
Maybe it was the DP.
Yeah.
Maybe I looked at it.
I meant to tell you that. Sorry.
I almost put it in my notes and I forgot to. The car is crashed by Billy Zane as collector. Breaker goes on the run. He ends up at this. It's a bar and grill, or what I think it was. I think it's just a bar. And he's he's using his switchblade to try to lock bit, which I don't know works, but whatever. He stopped by this little boy, and then he's on the run. That's when he meets Willie, who's drunk, and they share a little alcohol, and then he takes him to the boarding house. Inside, we meet all the really wacky people who live here. Most importantly, Geraldine, who is supposed to be cleaning the oven and is just doing.
Did you they were really her life must have I understand she's work release or whatever it is. Like she was in jail. They make a note of that later on. But man, everybody in the place treats her like it's almost like a Cinderella moment.
Right.
And it's like they all treat her like SHIT double hockey sticks.
I think Irene's hard on her because I think Irene wants her to do better. I don't think she's like the stepmother.
Right. I don't think she's wicked, but she's a hard ass.
But I think she'd be a hard ass to anybody. I think that's, I think that's Irene. And Cordelia tried to get her sheets, but there's, couldn't get the stains out because, prostitute joke.
Right.
So they're. Oh.
And then she makes guacamole's tough to get out or something. It's like, what? That's brilliant.
And then you're wondering, maybe it really was guacamole?
Yeah, it's so good. But see, that's what I mean by those little beats. Those little beats are character moments.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
And they're all the way through the entire movie.
Oh, yeah. It's just fantastic. Continuing on. Meanwhile, Sheriff Tupper and his deputy, Bob, are investigating the crash where they see a cowboy-looking fellow who we're just going to call the Collector because that's how he's credited. See how that works. The Collector convinces the law enforcement that Breaker has stole something and he's looking for it. They get word that Breaker may be at the boarding house, and so they hightail it there. Irene made a phone call because she was suspicious of Breaker. They arrive, and it doesn't go well. Breaker is in possession of a rare artifact, and he's not going to give that up. He tries to take Geraldine hostage, but that doesn't go well because, as the Collector says, he doesn't have it in to hurt her. Well, he doesn't. Breaker's taken into custody. His room is searched, and then it's Uncle Willie who saw Breaker stow it under the table. It's a large-looking key thing with a bottle in the middle, full of goo. The Collector almost gets the item, but the sheriff got questions since both cars were stolen and needs to sort this out. So the Collector comes clean and punches his fist through the sheriff's face. Then punches Breaker with the sheriff's head still attached to it.
Can we cut in quite literally, fuck your own face right here, because that's what happened.
Oh, Breaker uses his key to drive the Collector out of the church. So, Breaker, the Collector and the sheriff comes in, and they're looking for this really interesting key, and the moment where it goes, it's almost not as bad. It's not as dramatic as in like From Dusk Till Dawn, where you realize it's a different kind of movie,
Right.
Because we knew what we were getting into.
Exactly.
But it's very different because watching it for the first time, you're like, okay, what's going? Because Billy Zane's looking for this thing, and so I'm like, all right, William Sadler's stolen it. I'm like, oh, and the reverse happens. Oh,
Yeah.
whoa, this is crazy.
Oh, this dude's bad.
Right. Oh,
He just punched through a guy's face.
and then tears his head off, and then punches William Sadler with the head.
It's amazing. It's absolutely.
I've never seen that done before.
No, and it's not that it's great, like visual.
No,
but it's good enough to make it fun, and that's the biggest thing you got to take away. That's the first big FX bit we get. Right. Practical. There's a lot of practical. There's no CG in this, as far as
it's all
like visual effects, but no CG.
Yeah, it's all practical.
So it's all practical effects, and it's the first one, and you're like, what? It's so brilliant. It's schlock in the right way. It's clearly done with intent.
It totally is. I mean, and it sets it up what we're going to get in such a great way. And
Absolutely.
I'm just excited about it.
Oh, I was in heaven.
So Breaker uses the key, touches the collector's face. It burns him, and he jumps out of the window, which pisses him off and gives us the greatest quote ever.
Yes.
That I'm going to play now.
Humans! You're not worth the flesh you're printed on! Fuck this cowboy shit! You fucking ho dunk, po dunk, well then there, motherfuckers! All you have to do is give me the goddamn key! Then we could get on with our lives. Alright, this property is hereby condemned.
If you don't realize, like, seriously, that line and a series of those lines just travel with me.
So Billy Zane's coming to Pensacon, and I really want to get him to sign a Demon Knight poster, and I really want him to quote, "Oh, fuck this cowboy shit."
Oh my god, I
hope he
wish.
does. I was like, do you mind to fuck this cow, please, for me?
That entire sequence is gold. And I just feel like I guarantee you, if we ever had the chance to interview Ernest, just to ask him, like, how much of that was you and how much of that you let him go? I guarantee you, if he was being honest, 90% of it's him letting him go.
Oh, it has to be.
Like Billy Zane bending down to. Oh, I'll let you get to the
right. No problem. So get this: the collector is a demon, and he needs the key, and he's going to summon demons by seeding the earth with some awesome glow stick blood, because that's what it is. The inside of a glow stick.
It's gold.
Crazy, weird demons start crawling on the ground, and so Breaker has to use liquid in his key, which turns out to be blood. Breaker uses blood from the artifact to protect the building and tell the group that they must wait out the night. Unable to get in, the collector uses psychic powers to seduce and possess Cordelia. Cordelia kills Wally.
Very gruesome scene.
And cripples Irene before Breaker kills her. The group attempts to escape through an old mine tunnel under the building, where Geraldine finds the boy named Danny, who was watching Breaker break into his dad's car. Hiding. The other townsfolk under demon possession drive them back to the church, so they can't escape. The residents demand an explanation, so Breaker reluctantly tells them the story of the key artifact. Following the creation of the earth by God, demons use 7 keys to focus their powers of the cosmos into their hands. When discovered, God created light, which scattered the demons across the key. A lot of exposition. And the keys across the universe. The artifact that Breaker holds is the last key needed to reclaim power. And to protect it, God had a thief named Zachariah fill it with the blood of Jesus Christ. The guardians of the key, immortal, while holding it, have passed on and refilling it with their own blood when they die. Breaker received the key from his commanding officer during World War I. Danny disappears, and Geraldine rallies everyone to look for him, during which Roach sneaks the key out of Breaker's satchel. There's a lot going on here.
Can we talk?
We can talk whatever.
Yeah, I want to jump in. I remembered the blood, it's the blood of Christ, and that's very biblical.
Right.
I mean, there's this whole big thing. And I was like, that's brilliant. Watching it now, even more as a matured adult, rewatching it and going like, God bless, that's a genius idea. Right? It's not that it's the greatest thing ever, but it's just a really clever thing,
right.
And it's just passed down. The blood which is very Catholic and very religious in that sense. One of the things that was fascinating to me, though, is that the idea is that the Earth or the universe existed. There were creatures in the universe that clearly either have space travel or it doesn't really matter. That concept it gets very esoteric if you think about it, because they're talking about they're scattered across the universe, and they finally found the last one on Earth, right? Because God does that when He decides to create a universe, right? Then when they do talk about Christ, what I thought was so fascinating is they don't actually mention Christ.
Right.
They say a guy that died. I mean, we know, but they say a guy that died on the cross, right?
Right.
And they tease it up. What they don't mention is that basically that Jesus is the Son of God, kind of all modern Christianity. They leave it all out. And so it's almost into this cabal space. It's really like so densely powerful. I'm way reading into it, but I was like, man, the backstory on this alone.
Right.
Like, I want a prequel.
And they did it in like a minute.
They did, and they gave
super
you,
fast.
Yep.
And you got everything you needed. Most of it's done in like silent flashback while they're just trying to tell the story, and you see Sakurai, the demon's trying to get the key, and Sakurai I mean, it's just perfect.
It seriously is. It's really well made,
and so I really, really super dug it.
Mr. Roach, what have you got there?
I want out of here, and I'm looking to cut a deal.
Well, let's talk about it.
How do I know you ain't gonna kill me?
You have my word. I mean, frankly, we've been counting on you, haven't we? The world needs more people like you, Mr. Roach.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Of course, you don't mind if we kill the others, do you?
Hey, if it makes you feel good, do it.
It makes you feel good, do it. Exactly. First things first, of course. The blood seal.
Listen, on a personal note, be sure and kill Breaker. He's a bossy asshole.
Isn't he, though? Thank you.
That's it?
Ooh, that's it.
You ain't such a bad fella.
You aren't so bad yourself. Oh, pleasure doing business with you, Mr. Roach.
Well, you know this hell on earth business? Big fucking deal. I got hemorrhoids. Vaya con Dios.
And a vaya con diablos to you too, sir. Oh, Roach, there's just one more thing I forgot to mention. I lied.
Oh, poor Roach, who doesn't like Breaker. They've had conflict through the whole movie because he's a tough guy. He's the macho guy, and he's not going to be told to do anything.
He wears a fishnet shirt.
Right. He's like, I'm the alpha, whatever. And clearly Breaker's like, no, there's shit going on, and you've got to pay attention to us. And look, And so when he steals the key, he gives it to Billy Zane, to the collector. And I love what he does was when he gets him to wipe up the blood, but Billy Zane opens his mouth and the sponge comes out.
Oh, it's so gold.
And so improvised moment.
Yep, has to be.
Billy Zane walked by props and was like, "Can I get a clean sponge?" And rolled it up in his mouth and popped right out.
It's gold.
Oh,
it's gold, and it's
so
funny
genius.
and it's quirky, and it makes you really like Billy Zane a lot,
like
which you should.
Right,
you should like the devil. The point of the devil is that you like the devil.
Right, the devil's cool.
He's got all the fun stuff, and Billy Zane is fun the entire damn time.
Everyone else is hiding in the attic. In the church attic, Irene and Bob discovered that Wally was planning to attack the post office because he was going postal. He's also in love. He very much enjoyed loving Cordelia. He was also stealing mail. That's why he got fired in the movie. He said, I was stealing mail. I wasn't stealing mail. They fall attic full of mail.
Right.
The collector soon possesses Uncle Willie, who attacks the others, while baiting Willie, Roach makes a deal with the collector to trade his life for the key. But the collector betrays and kills him soon after Roach walks away. Breaker retrieves the key in the battle, and Irene and Bob sacrifice themselves to stop the remaining minions in the attic. The collector brainwashes Danny, who mortally wounds Breaker, before Geraldine kills him. As he dies, Breaker initiates Geraldine as a guardian of the key, deactivating all the blood seals that were on his hand, transferring to her. Geraldine confronts the collector, spits blood from the key into his face, causing him to revert to his actual demon form before being destroyed. At dawn, Geraldine fulfills the key with Breaker's blood and boards a bus with her cat, seeing the door Behind them, down the road, the bus stop picks up a mysterious stranger who declines to get on, stating he'll catch the next one because Danny sealed the door. Dressed identically to his predecessor and carrying the same suitcase, Geraldine realizes he's the next collector. After exchanging a glance in passing, the new collector begins following on foot, whistling the theme song from Tales from the Crypt.
Yep, it's gold. So Danny upstairs is insane. That whole little, or whatever, that sequence of Danny's the little boy, right?
Yeah, Danny's little boy turns into the monster.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an insanely crazy sequence. And then something brilliant happens. And this is the little, I mean, there's, all throughout the whole film, Billy Zane, we're going to say this a million times. Billy Zane, Billy Zane. But there's a sequence that occurs that is, I think, brilliant horror movie writing where you haven't seen her in a while, and now the camera perspective of the film changes. And we're on Billy Zane.
Right.
Sadler is dead, more or less. Little Danny is gone. Billy Zane makes his way in, and he finds her, and she is covered in blood, head to toe.
Right.
And he tries to grab her, and suddenly he's being burned because she is covered in the blood of Christ, basically. And it turns into, the movie literally shifts and becomes almost, to me, notes of an abusive relationship film,
right,
where he is like I mean, the way he treats her is like in a very aggressive, Me Too-y, total shit show. He grabs her and throws her abusively into a shower and literally washes the blood off of her.
Right.
And then that's what sets up for her the entire time she's kept her mouth closed.
But the best thing about this, though, because I mean, wasn't in the notes, but we'll go back. He has a psychic ability, and he tempts everybody.
Right.
And in the novelization, he actually tempted Charles Fleischer's character, Wally, and Irene.
Oh wow!
But they didn't get, they got cut.
Yeah.
There was also flying demons in the novelization, but also got cut for that reason. And so clearly, at the end of it, Geraldine, Irene, or Wally could have all been chosen because they resisted the temptation.
Right.
She was just the survivor. That's how it worked out. And so, during the temptation, the collector kind of falls for Geraldine. Is really into her.
Right.
And so now he's trying to seduce her, and there's this great, He's washed her off. I like how he captured her in the shower.
It's really brilliant.
Washes her out, and then he's dancing with her and saying, "Look, we can make this work. You're a protector now. I'm the. We'll make it. It'll be crazy marriage, but it's so this dance they do.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Oh,
it's so good
and lit well. And
and there's weird little moments throughout the entire piece of his psychic abilities that the way Billy Zane. The way his voice, the timbre of his voice, it's just like, hey, I could believe in you. I want to be your friend. I'm here to help you. No, sure. I mean, those people over there are terrible, but me, no. And it's
like, you don't have to be a demon. No, you don't have to be you can be like me. It'll work out. It'll be great.
Oh, that word whore. I hate that. The way they do it is so, Billy Zane, again, his performance is so damn good. It's mind blowing.
Right. I like this. I like his temptation of Willie too when he's at the because he hadn't touched a drink and he's trying to sober up for this moment while this is going on, and he really wants a drink, and so the collector shows up and he's got like a topless women and a bar, and he's like, hey, would you like a big hot one? And then it's passing in the drink, and
the drink has the drink was. I don't remember what it was now. I should have written it down. But it had a specific name. They were gagging the drink, making a joke out of it. This is the one for the road or something like that to some effect. And it was just one of those beats of look, another little nuanced moment. In fact, there's a great bit from Billy Zane where he is finally going to get Willie to take the drink, and he has a cigar in his mouth, and it looks like he's the dude from Cocktail. It has that sort of vibe to it.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then Billy Zane has a cigar, and he just turns and spits it, and it shoots straight out of his mouth. It's not campily done. It's not. He didn't have to make a raspberry sound. It just shoots out of his mouth, and he's like, and you see his face change to a little more serious. It's just so nuanced and so just. It's just such a fantastically fun horror film. It's the kind of horror movie that I want to watch over and over again, just because I enjoy the gags out of it. And certainly from the performance side of things, it weighs much heavier. And then it's shot well. I mean, if I'm going to talk on the technical side of things, I got to bring into the fact that I think it's shot well. I think it's edited well. I think its sound mixing is good. There's very little. I mean, it's a big not big budget, but it was a proper budget, and it was produced by a right studio, and it came across solid. And again, the biggest takeaway of the whole piece is the performances being so dadgum good from every single person involved. Solid work.
Suck this one down, Uncle Willie. Long, hard one. Nothing gets you fucked up fast. Am I right, guys?
There it is.
Long hard ones.
Long.
Suck this down, Uncle Willie. Long, hard one.
Long, hard one.
That's what it was. That's what. Sorry, it took me a second to find it. I should have wrote it down, but I didn't. So in my research, actually, I'll say that. Hold on. Let's see. There's a couple of alternative takes in this. So in the sci-fi version of this, the scene where Uncle Willie is tricked by the collector, it's altered so the girls are wearing bikini tops. So someone CGI'd.
They see, like, seriously?
For the TV version, yeah.
Wow.
In Germany, the uncut version was shown in cinemas, but the video was withdrawn by the distributors to avoid confiscation by the authorities.
Holy smokes!
So a cut version exists in Germany, or did at one time. I guess when it was on video. I bet now with the internet you can get it fine, but that's interesting.
That is fascinating to me.
So the entire set was constructed practically in a abandoned airport hangar in Van Nuys, California.
Wow, that's a lot. I mean, that's a 2-story set. That's
right.
A functional 2-story.
So everything in the movie, I think with the exception of the car crash, happens in one soundstage.
Oh, wow. Like even the diner stuff.
Yeah, all the diner, everything
Unreal.
happens on this giant soundstage that they did. The World War I stuff happened on a soundstage.
Yep.
In there.
Brilliant.
The Jesus Christ stuff happens and like it's in the corner over here.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
They built this. The outside of it they built, and then of course the inside they built it all in one giant hangar.
That's brilliant.
So, and then the reason why they did that was the director felt that he did not want to tire his actors out and his crew by doing all night shoots because it's a night movie.
Yep.
So they could black everything out.
Yeah.
2 problems. One, incredibly hot.
Oh, no joke. I imagine.
Incredibly hot.
Yeah.
2, there were birds in the rafters.
Oh,
and so
snap.
the birds would ruin sound takes. So what they would do was they would start each shoot with a gunshot to the ceiling to scatter the birds.
Unbelievable.
And then they would shoot until the birds came back and then pause and then do it again.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
That's crazy. That's seriously a bizarre. That's like an Alabama production story.
I will say they were blanks, so they didn't use real ammo, but there was blanks. But enough sound doesn't shut them up and fly them out. But so I thought that was cool. Here's the story about the story. So unlike episodes of the HBO series, this story was not adapted from the pages of EC Comics. The first draft of the screenplay was written in 1987.
Oh.
2 years prior to the series debut. It was first intended to be made by film director Tom Holland, who was planning on doing his follow-up to Child's Play.
Wow.
Holland hired an FX team to do preliminary sketches, but it ultimately went on to direct the box office bomb Fatal Beauty. Next, the script wounded up in the hands of Pumpkinhead screenwriter Mark Carducci, who sat on it for several years before it was given to Pet Sematary director Mary Lambert.
Wow.
Lambert had some radical ideas for the script, including casting an African-American as Breaker to create a theme that the oppressed people on Earth was also its saviors. Once Lambert went on to direct Pet Sematary 2, which was the theatrical bomb, she couldn't get people to invest in the film.
Oh, what a shame.
The script later went into Charles Brand's Full Moon Productions, Full Moon Features hands, but budgetary constraints held up the production in limbo because it's pricey for what it is, especially for a Full Moon budget. I'm glad Full Moon didn't make it.
Oh yeah, they would have ruined it.
I like Charles Brand's work. I love Full Moon. I like what they do.
I know.
I'm
100%.
They're very specific, and they do great work for what they do, but this is not their film.
No, this is definitely not.
When it finally made its way into the desk of Joel Silver's Silver Pictures, it was optioned to be the second in the trilogy of Tales from the Crypt theatrical spinoff. Universal Pictures executives thought the script had more potential than the other 2 films, Dead Easy and Body Count, neither of which were ultimately produced.
Crazy.
And the film was quickly sent into production with the tentative release date of Halloween 1994. The release, of course, then was pushed back to 95 for Friday the 13th. At this point, there are two versions of the script were created to solve budgetary problems, one with demons and one without. In the later, the collector was a Bible salesman who was using a legion of followers, fellow salesmen clad in black suits and sunglasses, later to be revealed to be demons as his minions. A film called Demon Knight with demons that look like killer yuppies made everyone nervous, so Universal pitched in some additional money to get some demons on the screen. They had the writers. I'll go back to my notes from their names because it didn't. So Rife and Voris, they had them on set for a while, and being a writer, I understand this. Also, being as a movie guy, sometimes you just need to shut up. They just didn't shut up enough about stuff. Things have to be integrated to the script.
Bye-bye.
And so they got fired.
Oh, of course.
Mark Bishop came in to fix some things that they wouldn't fix. Basically, what it come down to, special effects stuff and stories to make it more Tales from the Crypty.
Right.
And so that's why he doesn't have a lot of screen credits anyway. So I don't know how he got involved. I think this is his.
I saw that when I was going
thing.
through it, because you can see they're a writing team, and then you get to him, and he's just
like
three credits.
3 credits. Yeah. And so I don't know how he got that job, but in the end, it was a good script. So whatever he fixed.
And I noticed they were all ampersand, so
right.
they made it. They did not make it a public firing sort of scenario.
Right.
They made it look like, hey, we brought another guy that might have some great ideas to add to the script.
Right.
As opposed to
and the two were on. All three of them actually were on the documentary. They were separate, but
oh, interesting.
But when the two of them together, they didn't make it like it was a big deal. I mean, it's how it happens. I mean,
no, it's reality.
Of course, they had the script since '87, so finally getting to make it after 8 years, being kind of in limbo.
And then, of course, now those guys are rolling because they did some Kung Fu Panda magic.
They got Kung Fu Panda
Good
money.
grief.
So, what do you think the budget for the film was, or do you know?
I don't. I'm going to say $25 million.
$13 million they filmed this on.
Man, they did a good job.
$13 million.
They did a good job.
Opening weekend, what do you think it made?
Oh, I think it did pretty well. It's probably budget plus, so I'd probably say about $18 million.
10.
Really?
10. It grossed overall 21.
Wow.
Opening weekend, what do you think it ranked?
Oh, if total is 10, probably fourth.
Close, third.
Yeah.
So our top 5 from that are Legends of the Vol, Higher Learning, Demon Knight, Dumb and Dumber, and Nobody's Fool.
How many of those, I wonder, were released prior to
Right, part of the. Some of these sound like January films though. Like the holiday season are over. These don't.
Legends of the Fall was probably an Oscar run, so it was probably released in December.
Maybe so. And Dumb and Dumber was released earlier that year, and because it had a monster run itself.
It did. It really did.
So now this is I looked up the yearly on this, and it wasn't listed on Box Office Mojo's yearly. It should have been, but I didn't see it on the list. So I looked at what other things were ranking and how much money it made to total. So I ranked it 23. That's my unofficial ranking of. It should have fit 23.
Oh, nice
on the list. So do you know the top 5 movies of 1995?
Oh man, I don't know. I can't even.
Yes, this is the fun part of the show. Yes,
I'm trying to think of what came out. Legends of the Fall. No, that would have been 94. Rolling over. Jurassic Park is 96. That's not right.
No, Jurassic Park's 94 too.
94.
Oh no, 93. Jurassic Park's 93.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I'm hooked on 94 right now.
Jeez, Manetti. I mean, I can't even.
You ready?
Yes.
Number 1 film of 1995, Batman Forever.
Oh God, what a turd.
Number 2, Apollo 13.
That's not bad.
Number 3, Toy Story.
Oh wow, I forgot Toy Story's that old.
Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls is number 4.
Oh.
Number 5, I forgot this was a movie, and it was the 5th grossing movie of 1995. Casper.
Oh crap! Yeah, with Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
And my kids watched it at Halloween this year.
So
that's mind blowing to me. That tells you what was wrong with the '90s. Garbage.
1995 brought us Braveheart, Heat, Casino,
Okay, those 3 are good.
And your favorite movie, Cutthroat Island.
Of course. I like Cutthroat Island. It's going to be on the show, damn it.
It will.
It's got to be.
But now you won't remember, but you now know the top 5 films.
Yeah, but I'll remember Cutthroat Island came out in 1995.
So we both like this movie. And this is part of the show where we kind of go, well, how would we make this different?
Right.
I don't know if I would make this different.
Nope. I thought about this the entire time watching it. I was like, oh, I got to... 2 options. One, I want a prequel. I want like an earlier tale that's not financially viable because I'd want it to be the World War I guy's story, and then Billy Sadler at the end. But really, I think a sequel would be brilliant, and I think it should open with Jada Pinkett Smith dying and her passing it on to the next person, and you literally so that way you get the backstory very quickly, but it's just cutting into it aggressively.
This movie is too good for Tales from the Crypt. I think it could have stood on its own if it had the proper marketing with it.
Oh, I totally agree.
But so that being said, the flaw in this movie is the ending.
Right.
Giving us an idea that there would be more.
Right.
What this is primed for today,
right,
is a series.
100%.
And I would I would watch a series of this because there's one key, you can do all kinds of stuff you want from it. You know, there's a whole mythos that you could build off this.
That's not part of the Supernatural TV show world.
Just, you could
not Eric Kripke's world, right?
You could just have a blast with it.
100%. Look, I'd love a series from it. It'd be a very good violent series. It'd be a very good HBO, Shudder.
Right.
Somebody who's going to take a little bit of a risk on it.
Right.
Because part of it really is you don't even have to. Here's the genius part. You could spend if you want to do it crazy, I'd spend the first half of the season following the Collector, where people don't know he's a villain.
Oh, yeah.
You set it up that way.
Right.
And then, boom, you do the reveal midway through or close to the end that, hey, the Collector's actually the villain.
Right.
And suddenly, you're given a whole new perspective. So it's a good hook in.
Did you see Dark Fate yet, Terminator?
I haven't seen it yet.
I don't want to spoil it for you.
It doesn't bother me.
All right, so spoiler alert for Dark Fate. If you've not watched Dark Fate, pause here, fast forward a minute, and we'll be there. In Dark Fate, there's the idea that Schwarzenegger wasn't the only Terminator sent to kill John Connor, which makes sense to me.
Yep.
Like at the same time, since Skynet didn't know where he was, they just populated, and so that comes back to haunt Sarah later in the movie. And we're done with spoilers.
Yeah.
So that concept, why if you're going to do our main character as the Collector, there should be other collectors trying to get it too. So
absolutely,
it gives him something. So you think,
there's a competition,
right? There's competition, but
you're going to sit on Daddy's lap. You're going to go sit on Lucifer's lap. You got to get all the way through.
But,
I love it.
But we don't know. We think the dude is the Guardian the whole time because he's being chased by stuff and.
Right.
You know, maybe he's got a decoy key or something. I don't know. That's how I kind of see it.
I'm with you. I just would love to see the perspective shifted so that when the reveal happens, it's not that you feel betrayed. It's just that's the craziness of, like, if you're going to make a statement where the item itself carries the blood of Christ, and it's a very religious sort of, and not negative, but just that stuff means a lot, right? So, or it has a lot of weight. So if you're going to play that game, flip the script on it. Like, literally take us down a path that the devil, who's the easiest one to, I mean, it's easy to be in anything in life, whether you're religious or not. Bad is always easier than good. It's just the truth.
And in a series, you could, like they did with Buffy and they did with Highlander, you can show us other timelines and
of course,
other collectors and other.
100%.
I mean, we could see all kinds of stuff. We could do side storylines.
100%.
I mean, it's easy. This is made for television, and it's the way they ended it. It was brilliant. I love how she gets on the bus and she seals the door of the bus, and so when the new collector shows up, I'll take the next. That's great.
Yeah, it was gold.
Brilliant.
It was absolute gold. And I had forgotten that sequence was even going to happen. Like, there was enough distance for me that was a surprise, and yet another, like, oh, damn, I love this.
And again, everyone's brilliant in this. And I mean, one of the things that it kept saying in the documentary was like, why don't we have a sequel? I mean, the actors are all like, we would all do this again. Why don't Billy Zane's like, of course, Billy Zane. This could be a vehicle for him. I mean,
oh yeah,
he'd do it.
Oh yeah, certainly now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to have him. I would love to have William Sadler back doing some stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love William Sadler. Well, that's about all I got to say about Demon Knight. Anything else for you?
No. I just, a lot of times we have movies that are hit or misses, like Nemesis, terrible movie ever made, worst.
Still worse than our podcast. Still worse.
It was great.
Has good listens though.
But from that, there's also times where we revisit stuff. We dig up things that you may have forgotten about. This is one of those that I actually think, even if you don't want Shudder, it's worth the faux signing up for a week to go watch Demon Knight if you don't buy the DVD.
It's really worth
or the Blu-ray, because I heard the Blu-ray looks fantastic.
Right. Or honestly, you can get this with Bordello for Blood, which I did, for like $5 on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I just ordered it, came to the house, and I have both of them now. So
it's absolutely worth it because it was fun to experience it.
So I'm going to table our Demon Knight discussion now and challenge you for something. So last week's episode of Cult Movie Cantina, me and Justina were talking, and we were doing Ask the Cultist questions. And you asked a question and wanted us to justify why
I was
Tombstone...
playing the Change My Mind meme.
Yeah, the change my mind why Tombstone is... why make Wyatt Earp better than Tombstone, basically. And I made my response, and then Justina was like, well, why do you like Wyatt Earp? And so we want you to do the reverse. Change my mind on Wyatt Earp.
Well, the only thing that Wyatt Earp has going, I can't change your mind. It's a terrible movie. It's not good. The only thing it has is Kasdan.
This is what happens when you play.
I know, but the only thing it has is Kasdan, and nobody's. It's not good.
No, the only person good in it is Dennis Quaid, and he's not nearly good as Val Kilmer.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid is not.
I think Dennis Quaid. Doing that, I love Dennis Quaid. Would have been wonderful if Tombstone doesn't exist, but Tombstone exists, and Tombstone's superior.
100%. I mean, Val Kilmer. So here's what I need. I need Val Kilmer's character. It's the same thing that we got from Billy Zane and Demon Knight, to circle him back.
Right.
You have two people that took a role and were like, "Watch me do my work."
Oh yeah, and totally made it their own.
100% theirs. And they weren't. The great thing about both those roles is neither one of them were in a spot where they were being offset by a straight man, per se.
Right.
They were just two characters that this is how they were. Whereas the problem I have with Wyatt Earp is I always felt like they shoehorned Dennis Quaid in as oh my God.
Doc Holliday.
Thank you. As Doc Holliday versus Val Kilmer. It felt natural. So I can't change your mind. It's a crap movie.
It's long.
It's boring.
It's long. It's like...
It's boring.
I mean, Tombstone's long too, but it's long in the right places. I mean,
but Tombstone is a train wreck that somehow turned, like on paper, you read about what happens to it.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it on the podcast, how like it changed directors and
it's nuts.
And secretly Kurt Russell directed the whole film, and,
right.
And he actually came out publicly about that last week or only last year sometime. And so, because Kilmer has been saying it on the concert, so Michael Biehn has been talking about that when they do the concert on the panels. Right. So it's going to come out sooner or later.
Yep. The cast is better in Tombstone.
Oh, the cast is a powerhouse.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked about this on Cult.
And also features Billy Zane.
We also Billy Zane's in it also, right. And he's good in it.
He's great. I think his name is not Billy. That's the other kid. I can't remember.
Billy's Jason Priestley.
Yeah, Jason Priestley.
I don't know what his name was because
what a cast. I mean, that movie really does have an amazing cast.
Right. I mean, we got not Val Kilmer, Kurt Russell.
Sam Elliott.
Oh.
Bill Paxton. God rest him. God rest Bill Paxton.
Michael Biehn in one of the best villain roles
Powers
ever.
Booth right next to him. So Powers Booth with Michael Biehn as a combo.
Right.
That's the two best villains. To me, they're like two of the best villains of all time.
Oh, so good. Thomas Hayden Church is in this.
Yeah, he is.
We have
good God. Maybe Demon Knight's got a little bit deeper reach. When did Tombstone come out?
93.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, 93. So, I mean, Steven, what's his name? He was in Avatar, and he's been in a bunch.
Yeah, I see.
He's Ike Clampett in this.
He sure is, and he is
and great.
Oh, fantastic!
That's like he's like, you may get me before I turn your head into a canoe. He's like, he's bluffing. No, Billy, he's gonna kill me.
Yeah, it's so good. It makes me want to watch it again.
So I own it. I have it on streaming, so I watch it. I watch it way too much. It's like at least 4 times a year.
Oh, it's been on my list forever. It's constantly in my top 10.
And I would do it, but we just released a podcast on it.
No, I get it.
So
it's not a Cantina. It's not a cult movie though.
Oh,
it is a cult movie. But I just don't know if it's a Catacombs.
Yeah, it's not a cat movie, but it's not a cat movie at all. But it's definitely a cult movie, and it's just fun. And the girls had fun watching it too. So, and we did it for the mustache thing for Movember.
Oh, nice.
A couple of years ago. We'll update on the show if Stephanie raised $1,700 for her Movember campaign.
Oh, fantastic!
So go her. Well, that was our show.
Yeah,
and
there we are.
We'll see you next. What do you know what we're doing next?
I really would like to parlay from Demon Knight to Judgment Night.
Do you? Okay, we'll do.
Have you watched Judgment Night in a while?
I haven't seen Judgment Night in a minute.
I haven't seen it. I saw it once after I saw it in the theaters.
So let me. That's Dennis Leary and Emilio Estevez in the RV, right?
And Jeremy Piven.
So that's the RV movie.
And Steven Dorff.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
in the
it's
RV.
movie. Okay, I want to make sure. Here's what I don't remember. I saw it. I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it when it came out. I guess on home video, either probably back when I think that was one of those things when we had crank satellite. You know, you had to crank the satellite to get to the pay channel, and you'd call in the number. I think I'd rented it that way. But here's what I know about it. The soundtrack is awesome, but because how it affects me is that there's a song on there that's a duo between Cypress Hill and Pearl Jam.
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
And so for me, it's Helmet and House of Pain.
Right. Look at there.
Yeah. And then now, that soundtrack is again, it's super nostalgic, but it's one of these weird soundtracks. Me and Jeff went back to it. A lot of it holds up. Cypress Hill's a little challenging just because his tone was so 90s, but musically it holds up. But then you have Sonic Youth, I think, in Cypress Hill again.
Right.
Like they're on there twice, and you're like, Sonic Youth in a rap band? It's weird, but it works.
It works. It works. I mean, it's weirder than Eddie Vedder and Beyonce singing Redemption Song.
Yes.
That's a thing.
Yes. Yes.
So we'll do Judgment Night next, and so we'll stay tuned for that one. This is Scotty saying this is our contribution to the multiverse. Go out and make yours.
Koha's out.
Thank you for listening to the Mobcast Network.